If I thought the second time around was going to be any easier, I was wrong. I feel like I'm more nervous than my first video. The year my life changed, I was at the end of a very dark road that was leading me nowhere. I was struggling a lot. For a long time in my life, I felt emotionally exhausted, overwhelmed, and to be honest, just lost in a lot of ways. I was struggling mentally. I would overthink everything. I was lonely. My heart hurt a lot, especially being that I was looking for comfort in relationships, and when those didn't work out, it would leave me feeling deflated and empty. And there would be moments where I would think things are getting better, and then I would just find myself in this reoccurring cycle of almost fake happiness, contentment, and then sadness and stress and loneliness. And me and depression were on a first name basis. We were well acquainted with one another. And that was just my life. I didn't know how to change it, how to get better. I tried different things and it got me nowhere. And there was just this emptiness inside of me. There was one week where I was struggling really, really bad. I had even taken off the week at work due to struggling with my mental health. And I was just spiraling, and I was on a FaceTime call with one of my brothers and one of my sisters, and I remember I was talking to them, and I was just telling them like how I had been feeling, and what I was going through. I remember my brother asked me, I don't remember word for word, but this is, the gist of it. He had asked me like, well, have you tried talking to the Lord about it? And at that time I had a grudge with the Lord, and I was not speaking to him, and I usually would shut people down. I almost did that day, but then something stopped me, and I wasn't fully there yet, but I was like, you know what? I'll think about it. For you, brother, I'll think about it. And he responded with, well, how's it been working out for you without him? And in that moment, something just shifted and clicked like in my heart, in my brain, in my soul. And I remember sitting there like letting his question replay in my head. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And the Lord is amazing, because in that moment, I fully surrendered my life to the Lord. And so many things just started to change immediately. Now, of course, not everything in my life has changed. I'm human, so I'm not like gonna be this perfect specimen, but there were just the way that I thought, certain things that I thought I would never be able to quit doing just the Lord just flicked them off. It still amazes me to this day. But I remember I started reading my Bible while I was listening to worship music all the time, but I hadn't prayed, and I was afraid. I was ashamed of the decision that I made years prior to turn my back on him and walk the other way. I was ashamed of the decisions I had made. I was ashamed of the things that I did. I was scared. So I put off praying for some days, maybe even a week. But then finally, one day, I just poured my heart out to him. And I remember just releasing all the negative things that I had been holding inside of me. And I remember in that moment just wanting to go and be with him. My heart longed to be with him, to be in his presence. And I don't know how I prayed for a long time. I remember I would cry, I would sit in silence, I would talk to him more, and I realized there were things that I had to forgive myself of, because if he's forgiven me for them, who am I to hold on to them? And that took a lot for me, but it also was so freeing. It's like this weight was lifted off of me, and all that sadness, all that anger, all that confusion, all that loneliness, it was released from me. And I'm just so grateful that we have a Lord that loves us, that sees us, that hears us, that forgives us. So after that, I started reading my Bible more intentionally. I was finding sermons to watch online until I could find a church, which was probably going to take a while because, as I mentioned before, I'm very shy and I don't particularly like to go places alone. I struggled with praying still after that, if I'm being honest, and I guess I can get into that on another video. But my prayer life was not as consistent as it is now, but I was praying more than I was prior. This made God my top priority, and I was willing to give up anything if it meant he was going to be number one in my life. And I remember my views on even dating and how I was going to approach dating changed, and then it got to a point where it's like, okay, Lord, I'm just gonna be single probably for the rest of my life. But it's worth it because I have you, and there was no one else, and there will never be anyone else I need more than the Lord. Thankfully, though, He didn't see fit, it seems, for me to be single for the rest of my life. So the more I surrendered to the Lord, it felt like the more I was finding myself, and I was becoming the woman that He wanted me to be. I was finding peace and joy and simple things that felt like me. I felt like sometimes, without even realizing it, especially with social media and just the ability to watch everyone else's lives, we sometimes forget who we are, even if we don't realize that that's what's happening. Because at least I didn't realize that I was changing. I was becoming someone who wasn't me. Since then, I no longer feel the need to try to keep up with everyone else. I was never meant to, and that's what I realized. That's why I felt so broken and so lost. And I think that's part of the reason why I started the quiet portion, because I know what it feels like to feel unseen, to feel lost in this world, to feel alone even when you have amazing family and amazing friends around you. You still almost feel like an outsider in your own body, and you spend a lot of time pretending to be okay, pretending to be happy, pretending to just be enjoying life when inside you're crying. I just want to share my story. I want to create a quiet and comforting space for us to encourage one another. My prayer for this video and for sharing a little bit of my testimony, my prayer is that this video will reach the woman that needs to hear it, who feels so far from God, who feels so lost in life. That's all my rambling for today. I also just wanted to say thank you to those of you who have had a chance to watch my first video and just provided me with such encouragement to continue on. I know that because I am just kind of just so mellow and monotone, my excitement and my thankfulness and just how, like, my gratitude and just how truly grateful I am may not always come off that way, but trust me, inside I am ecstatic, and so I do appreciate it, and I just truly pray that these videos would be a blessing to you. In the quiet, God was working.